Yes.
Okay, good morning. Hi, I'd just like to introduce, this is Amanda from Future Health BioBank. I'm so glad that you managed to come on and talk to us today. It's something that I feel so passionate about, and a lot of people don't even know that you exist. So
Right.
what do you do? What does your company do for people?
So Future Health BioBank, we basically take stem cells from when people have their babies and we store them for that family, and it is there really as a medical insurance should they ever need some form of treatment. So that's it very briefly in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a nutritional therapist, for those of you that don't know me already. I work alongside people trying to get pregnant, people that are going through the pregnancy, both men and women. I work with couples. Now, when I'm talking to them, whether the preconception or obviously already done the deed, they a lot of people don't know about you at all. I mean, I didn't know. My husband is Italian, so he actually did know about this facility existing, because in Europe they seem to be a lot more open about the fact that this facility is available for people. You know, it is a private service, and I think sometimes with the with hospitals and doctors here, sometimes they don't mention something because it's private and it's not accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
So I just think in England people need to know that they can actually do this. Um, so basically, what you're saying about the stem cells, what sort of things could it help with? So say you've got these stem cells,
Mhm.
and then what sort of trials have you done? What do you sort of find useful? You know, that we can sort of tell the public what sort of things this could help with in the future or in the present time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, with the cord blood, it has been a proven treatment for over 40 years now. Since 1988 was actually the first cord blood transplant that took place. So it isn't something that is fairly new. It has been happening a long time. Like you said before, it's more just a case of the awareness in the UK to let people know that it's even an option. So with the cord blood, it's essentially any blood that's left in the cord and the placenta. And those stem
Right.
cells are called hemopoietic. And basically, what they can do at the moment is treat around 85 illnesses. And they're things like your serious, leukemias, anemias, lymphomas, thalassemias, blood type cancers and disorders. So quite serious illnesses they can treat. You also have the option, and this is a fairly new service in the last sort of 5 to 10 years, is actually store a piece of the umbilical cord tissue as well. So those stem cells are called mesenchymal, and they're currently in lots of trials, around 1,000 clinical trials actually, for more common illnesses. So they're for things more like diabetes, cerebral palsy, autism, muscle and tissue regeneration. So there's a lot more potential for the everyday person to be able to use them. It's still in clinical trial stage at the moment. However, they are looking really promising. Some of them at quite late stages. So for us, it's a case of people knowing what their options are and having that opportunity to start off with.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, because I mean, a lot of people might hear about somebody from a faraway planet, I nearly said country, coming from being on a stem cell donor list and helping
Yeah,
somebody who they've never met, don't know at all.
yeah,
And there's sometimes quite a slim chance to get a match, isn't there?
yeah.
I
It's
mean,
around a one
I
in a million
sometimes
chance, I
go
think.
1 in a million. I turn around and say, well,
Mhm.
yeah, 1 in a billion or something. But yeah, I'm sure more realistically is 1 in a million. But that's still, pretty hard. And you're really
Mhm.
lucky to have found a match that way. So these
Definitely.
stem cells, what's the thing with these stem cells that you're getting from that baby?
Yeah, so I mean, they will be a 100% match to the child, that it is your own blood, basically. So it's the best match that you could possibly ever get. If you were unlucky and you needed a transplant and you didn't have the stem cells stored, then you would have to rely on a kind stranger to go through, something like bone marrow, or try and find a match on a public register when there isn't a guarantee of it being there in reserve for you. And then there's also one of the biggest risks with using a sample that isn't your own is the chance of rejection and being on anti-rejection drugs for the rest of your life. It is absolutely amazing, if you are lucky enough to get that match. But for us, in terms of what we do, it's guaranteeing your family that you have the best match possible. For siblings, it's a 1 in 4 chance of a match. So again, it's the best match that you're going to get other than your own. And even for the parents as well, Nikki, it's a 1 in 16 chance of a match. So it is more of a family biological insurance. You're
Yeah, I mean
guaranteeing that you've got a good match there.
That's just that. It's amazing though, isn't it? I mean, you've actually got something. You've got this little nugget that you could perhaps take from the birth, and then it could support you and your whole family, or give you a much better chance.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then,
it's that peace of mind, I think, for a lot of our clients. It's okay. It's one of those things that actually you'd hope to store and never need to use it. However, having that peace of mind to say, okay, well, I have this banked. God forbid, should that something happen, I always have it to hand. And
yeah. I mean, I'm a really firm believer in like trying to sort of prevention and maybe we don't know what's coming for the future, do we? So if we can have an insurance policy, bank, as you say, surely that's, we don't want to use it, but the fact that we've got it gives us that confidence that we do have something that we could fall back on should something come up.
Yeah.
So a lot of the questions that I get, so I'm sure you can answer them much better than I can. So if people are really looking at doing the biobank, would cord clamping be an option if they were thinking, I want to do delayed cord clamping, but I also want to do this? Now there's lots of, do you do 30 seconds? Do you do 2 minutes? People want to do 5 minutes. What would you say was an adequate amount of time that they could, but then still have the enough of the plasma and the placenta blood for the collection?
It's something that we definitely are big on having a discussion with every single client that signs up with us. So, and we really do just follow the NICE guidelines. So because the people that we use to come and do the collection are only there to collect the stem cells after the birth of the baby and the birth of the placenta, we actually don't have any say in how long you want to delay the cord for. And it really obviously depends on the hospital. If that baby needs that blood, then absolutely that is present, and that's most important. In terms of realistically from what we can actually get for storage and try and get the best possible chance of a successful good number of stem cells, around the 2-minute mark is generally what most of our customers tend to do. Then the baby's getting some of that blood, but then also making sure that there is something left for us to be able to store and collect, for the future. So, but it really is an individual choice. We're not medical professionals. We will literally just advise to make sure that you have the discussion. The longer that you delay it, obviously there'll be less blood for us to collect, but we will collect whatever blood is left, because honestly, every woman's placenta is completely different, and you really don't know how much blood or how many stem cells that contains until we get it back at the lab and process it. So we will process any sample that is sent, and then if it's not successful for whatever reason, then you're not charged for that sample.
Right, yeah, that's good. Well, I'd just like to say I did use you for both of my children, and it was a great service, really happy with you. I did choose to sort of go for that 2-minute delayed clamping, and I was, will this be the right choice or not? Anyway, I managed to get 2 really successful collections anyway, so that was good. So if you want to just go through, so if someone's thinking, right, I want to ring this person now and I want to try and sort out how do they go through it? So they'll give you a call, and then what happens from there, the procedure?
Yeah, so it's in terms of responsibility, we try and do as much as we possibly can for you, other than obviously have the baby. So basically you make an inquiry, give us a call, go on the website, we've got social media pages. We'll send out some information to you, usually on email. If you decide to proceed, we send you an electronic contract to complete. And then once we get that back, we'd ask for an initial setup fee. It's a 195, but usually speaking, we have an offer, or if you've heard through someone like yourself, Nikki, then you would actually get a 10% discount off the total service cost. So you just pay a small initial fee to start off with. What we then do is we would allocate you your own unique barcoded collection kit, and that's really important for you to take to the hospital when you do go into labour. So it's really imperative that you've always got that to hand. Just put it with your hospital bag. Most likely as well, if you're in the NHS and not having private care through a consultant, then we would also allocate a phlebotomist, and this is the person that would be on call for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you'd also get a backup person as well. Now, it would just be up to you or the birth partner to just notify them as soon as you have any signs of labour. Let them know. They'll ask for regular updates when you're getting them at the hospital with how many centimetres dilated you are, and things like that. And then they normally attend the hospital at the final stages of your labour. Now, a lot of concerns women do have is, oh, you know, it's another person in the room, you know, getting in the way or something like that. Absolutely, that's not the case. So they will wait in a separate room called a sluice room usually, that the hospital will allow them into with your collection kit ready to go. So as soon as a baby is safely delivered, if you've had delayed cord clamping, that's fine. And then once the hospital staff are happy with the placenta, because they'll do their initial checks and sometimes even take some blood gases, what they'll then do is then pop the placenta into the separate room, at which point they'll take the blood. They can take a piece of the umbilical cord, around 15 to 20 centimetres is ideal. They'll package everything back in that collection kit. That will be passed on to the birthing partner usually. And then it literally is just a case of texting our medical courier just of all the details. So when the baby was born, the contact information and where you are in the hospital. Normally they'll pick up within a few hours, just stays at room temperature, and then we'll get it back to our lab. We're based in Nottingham. Everything's processed and stored here. We make sure that there's no contaminations in mum's blood, that there's none in the cord blood. We also check the cord tissue to make sure we can get stem cells from it as well. Once we've done all of those checks, then we'll give you a call, we'll send you out some letters, and then the rest of the balance will be payable. We also do have an option for 6 or 12-month installments. As a standing order, there's no fees at all to do that. So if it's something that you were looking to do, but the finance side might be putting you off a little bit, there are plans in place that we can definitely work with you to make sure that if it's important to you, that we can store.
Yeah, that's great news. I mean, I used the monthly payment scheme, so it wasn't such a big hit. I don't actually think for what the service is, it's that expensive anyway, to be honest. But then, yeah, so that just makes it so much more manageable, and it's not something that just, you know, pie in the sky, very, very affluent people can only access.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
Everybody can probably, you know, just you know, sort this sort of payment scheme out. So basically, what I wanted to say with the procedure was, it is really easy, isn't it? You basically get a box as soon as you've sorted out, we've made contact, and you just carry that around with you. You have a phlebotomist, and you don't worry about not having the same, you know, you don't have just have one phlebotomist. If you go into labour when they're not on shift, it's fine. There's always a backup. And basically, I never met the phlebotomist because I was busy, obviously, doing the hard work.
You were having a baby.
I was busy having a baby. It doesn't affect whether you are doing a home birth. I was in the hospital the first time. I had a water birth at home the second time. So either way, it's absolutely fine, isn't it? The phlebotomist just went in my kitchen and did his stuff with the placenta and then sent it all off. So it is an easy procedure, isn't it? We don't need to worry too much about it.
Not at all.
You just do all the legwork with us.
Yeah,
which is great. Yeah. So I was going to say how long, I didn't ask you before, how long can you freeze the stem cells for?
So at the moment, the research has proven that they're viable for 28 years. It's most likely that it will be extended past that, but we would never sort of quote or charge anybody, excuse me, for any longer than that, because we simply don't know if those cells are still going to be usable. It's to say the research is showing that it's not likely to be, but until that's proven, you know, we wouldn't say any past that, but most likely it would be.
Right. Well, I mean, that's still it's a pretty long time to have that security for.
I mean, a lot can happen in that time.
I mean, as with a lot of my clients, I really do try. Yeah, a lot can happen. I really do try and say we need to look after the mum and the baby, you know, and the father, you know, for the quality of sperm and eggs before we've got conception, then going through the birth. But then I also think a few people they think that that's the end goal, isn't it? Having the baby, having a healthy baby at 9 months, or, you know, slightly early, slightly later. But this is more of a prevention thing that we can look forward to, you know, for the child's health when they're 10, when they're 12, when they're 15, maybe 20. So it's just, it's an amazing thing to do that you can only really get on that one opportunity. But now, is there another opportunity you can get stem cells from?
Yeah, so if you perhaps missed out on the umbilical cord tissue at birth, because it is a fairly new service, there is actually a way that we can take similar stem cells, and they're in similar trials actually, from the child's milk teeth. So when your child has a wobbly tooth, what we would do is send out a collection kit. You'd pop the tooth into a solution within 15 minutes of the tooth coming out, which is sometimes, you know, quite tricky.
Yeah, they're in bed.
Yeah.
Covered in the morning.
And obviously
taking
it away from the tooth fairy also, yeah, it's a conversation that needs to be had beforehand. But yeah, so it would just be really easy. Pop the tooth into the solution in the collection kit. We would need to arrange a blood draw within 7 days, but we have pediatric trained phlebotomists that would come to the comfort of your own home within 7 days. To do that, we use special needles, EMLA, numbing cream as well, to try and make it as pleasant an experience as possible for the child. And then, yeah, we'll get it back. We culture it in a very similar way that we do to the umbilical cord tissue, to make sure that there are stem cells that you can actually use in the future. And the similar trials that are ongoing are for bone and tissue regeneration, things like that.
Oh, good. So it's not just a once in a lifetime thing now. You have a second window of opportunity.
You do,
so if you
yeah.
have missed this, that's great news, isn't it?
Most definitely.
Right. So have you got anything else you want to add?
Oh,
I'll just put you on the spot.
Yeah.
There. Is there anything else?
Let me think what's really important. I think, you know, this is a service that, you know, not anyone wants to honestly think that something bad could happen to the family. You know, you don't go into your pregnancy thinking like that, and I hope you wouldn't. But it's really a case of, you know, giving yourself that time to actually do your own research, make sure that you're happy, understand the process. Also, from a financial point of view, you know, yes, we do have the payment plans, but if it's something that you're thinking of doing, the sooner you make an inquiry, the better. You know, I really wouldn't want you to make a rush decision. Ideally, you want to be thinking around the 30-week mark about doing this for your family. And yeah, ask as many questions as you need to, because say it is only once in a lifetime for the cord blood that you can actually take it at birth.
Yeah.
So it could potentially, you know, help somebody in the future. So it's definitely an important decision to at least consider, even if you've decided not to do it at all.
Yes, that's, I mean, I think that's just what I wanted to get the point across with these talks I'm doing at the moment. I'm just trying to highlight where facilities are that people just, they don't know that they're about to even ask. They don't know how to pose that question, you know. So now at least we're trying to get it out there, which is great in my eyes. Right, so I'd just like to say thank you very much for joining us, Amanda. And if anybody has any questions, I will put details below. And we did mention before that if you did mention me or somebody else that refers you to the company, you do get a discount. So I will pop my name underneath, just in case anybody wants to mention that you've got it through this talk. So thank you very much for joining us, and have an amazing day.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you
Bye.
very much.
Thanks very much. Bye.
Bye.